Welcome back to Tribal Talks Cybersecurity Unlocked podcast. We are talking about our tribal responsibility to cybersecurity. I'm here with Continent 8's Craig Lusher, and this is part two of our podcast with Craig. So, our last series, welcome back, Craig. We're glad to have you back. We did
Thank you.
cover defense in depth. We also talked about layered security as well as the human risk element. So, where we were going to start back today was in regards to cybersecurity insurance, because that's a big thing right now at the moment. It's costly. It does improve a company's security posture and reduces a premium, or it does it do that? Does it reduce a premium? Anything like that?
Well, that's it. So, whilst implementing different tools, procedures, technology, and people to focus on cybersecurity will increase your security posture. It
Mhm.
doesn't necessarily reduce your premium. All obviously, all insurance companies are different. Some do offer discounts for showing evidence of following specific frameworks such as NIST and ISO, etc., and having those processes and technology in place. Importantly, they want to see continuous improvement and tracking of known vulnerabilities and how they kind of get remediated along the way. So something like vulnerability scanning and VAPTs and things like that are very good, and they're the sort of things you want to concentrate on, really.
Nice. So, so how can you provide evidence of the following frameworks and having the correct technology and processes in place?
Okay, well, there's a number of things that can actually be done. So, I mean, number one, auditing. So you can commission an audit or a cybersecurity assessment, essentially, to understand the security posture and to see how business complies with specific frameworks or regulations, and really look at the processes that are there in place. We can assess them to see, whether that's going to help improve your policy or not. Sorry, help improve your posture or not. And then
Mhm.
VAPTs, obviously penetration testing is a way of actually testing those technologies and practices and processes, using kind of almost real world hackers that are sitting there trying to get into your network. And
Mhm.
then once they're in, simulate kind of moving through your network. That will identify weak spots before it's too late, right? So we can see how the technologies stack up in the real world, and it's a controlled attack essentially. So VAPTs spin out a lot of information, as you can imagine,
Yeah.
list of vulnerabilities that might be there, and also kind of linking and chaining certain vulnerabilities and exploits to actually like take control of the system. So it's about understanding, can that be done? If it can, then obviously remedial action needs to be put in place to kind of fill those gaps. And if we would document and show how you would actually recreate those problems as well, and also build a priority list. So it's no good saying, look, these 200 things need fixing, fix them. The important thing is what needs fixing first and
Right.
what do we need to do. So that sort of thing can be helped along the way. Showing this is evidence, that you're trying to progress your systems and mature them as you go, rather than just kind of letting them stagnate. And obviously, we touched on it: vulnerability scanning and tracking. So this is a scan of the entire estate, and it matches equipment and software against known vulnerabilities. And again, prioritizes so we can fix them and follow remedial actions to get that sorted. And it's a good idea to follow that vulnerability scanning every month or every 2, 3 months. And then this really does show that continuous improvement, as long as you're completing the remedial actions, obviously. And then the VAPT and the audit gives a good line in the sand to say, this is where we are today. We can now create a cybersecurity plan to move forward and plug the main gaps that might be there. And of course, Constant 8 and See It Secure can always help with these.
Very nice. Yeah, that's just good business and helping your posture. No different than going to the gym and taking care of your body. You're just you're taking care of your network, your infrastructure, and protecting your assets. So that's a very good, very insightful. So coming back to cybersecurity in the tribal gaming market, what do you think, Craig, are the gaps, and how does Continent 8 address these gaps and strengthen cybersecurity readiness of the tribes?
Sure. So I mean that's a really good question. I mean, tribal gaming market does have its unique characteristics and challenges,
Mhm.
obviously, when it comes to cybersecurity. Some of the key gaps are, limited resources and expertise, I suppose. So many
Mhm.
tribal gaming operations do lack extensive in-house cybersecurity expertise. And these are really required to handle those sophisticated attacks that may change vector as it goes through the course of the campaign.
Yeah.
So, using a managed SOC and SIM solution that provides 24-hour monitoring, real-time threat detection, incident response, managed by team of really experienced security analysts is key. So it ensures that tribal gaming operations have access to top-tier cybersecurity expertise without the need for significant in-house training. So like an in-house, outsourced MSOC or managed SOC, we can provide those services as well. Um, the key thing here is it's very hard to obtain and retain cybersecurity talent. Okay, so
Yeah.
there's a worldwide shortage of resources. So coming to a provider like Continent 8 that has many different customers, different types of businesses. These guys are the analysts that we have are very experienced, but also happy with where they work. I'm speaking for them, but they're happy with where they work because they get to work on different things every day. So retaining an in-house SOC is very hard, and it's easier to outsource, especially in an environment where human resources are quite choked. So the other thing we touched on is, advanced threats and different attack vectors. Okay, so the complexity and the sophistication of cyber threats are changing all the time, and it makes it very difficult for tribal gaming entities to keep up with those latest attack vectors and the changing landscape that comes with that. Right. So at Continent 8, EDR, MDR services. So this is endpoint detection and response. And then MDR is kind of managed detection and response. So essentially, we're managing that EDR platform. EDR is a new fancy name for antivirus. Antivirus operates in silos, sits on your machine, makes decisions on that machine alone. Whereas the EDR solution gives you the full kind of network view of what viruses are doing on the network. It gives you chains of what's happened, what software's open, what's infected what, how it moves through the network. And again, you can put a bubble around that and close it in. So again, we offer EDR services that are managed, and it does protect against those sophisticated threats and zero-day exploits on the machines and the servers. And in addition to that as well, our intrusion detection and prevention systems actually provide real-time detection and prevention of network and software intrusions. Okay, so it kind of acts like a burglar alarm, like a tripwire almost,
Right.
but for the network.
Yes. Very nice.
So yeah. I mean, there's a few other challenges. Obviously, protecting web applications and APIs.
Hmm.
Aside from human behavior, web applications and APIs are the most common attack vector for cybersecurity. And securing them does require, specialist knowledge and tools. We've got a managed WAP solution that safeguards web applications and APIs from SQL injection attacks, cross-site scripting, other kind of OWASP top 10 attacks, right, that we see out there.
Yeah.
So, it's important to provide web application protection and WAF protection, because it provides like a universal blanket that covers websites and APIs and just protects them from those most common form of attacks. So it's almost like the easy, low hanging fruit. So you can make such a big impact by protecting your websites and APIs because they are the most vulnerable and the most attacked. They're sitting out there, public facing by their
Sure.
very design, but also they're one of the easiest things to protect with the right tools. So web application and API protection, WAP, is what we have to kind of fit that bill.
So this is the most dangerous but effective tool in society today. Is there anything out there that you know of or does Continent 8 do that can protect us from these and penetrating a network for companies with mobile devices?
But that's very true. We obviously that was the setup link here because we definitely do have something to help you here. So we've got Mobile Protect. Okay, which I think we touched on it previously. It's an application that sits on your device. It controls what goes out of the device or what requests are going out of the device, and it makes sure that there's no request to any malicious, dangerous site that can cause adverse effects for the corporation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the increasing use of Android mobile devices in gaming operations, aside from just having them in your pocket for email and accessing corporate data and things like that, Android devices are also used as betting terminals and slot machines. And this presents, even other different security challenges. But again, that Mobile Protect service we offer does translate onto those products, and it offers endpoint protection for those iOS and Android devices. So, it could be that a waitress is using an iPad or something like that in the casino floor, or it could be that the specific slot machines use Android. Again, we can help protect against those, as well as back office staff with their phones in their pockets, and the data that could be leaked from those, if there was a problem there. So we
So I was going to say, so like another type of sock for your mobile devices.
yes, so it's like an extension of it's another. You've got uh, perimeter security, network security, application security, human security, and endpoint security. Endpoint covers everything from workstations to servers. Doesn't usually cover mobile devices and tablets and things like that. So
Right.
it's another arm of that defense there. Yeah.
Nice, nice. What about the compliance and regulatory requirements for these things? Because a lot of tribes, their gaming commissions, that's where they come in and their audit teams. Can you briefly talk about that for a second?
Yeah, so obviously, regulatory compliance is a big thing, and you've got to be able to prove that you can keep data safe, and you've got to be able to prove that you're following all the best practices that are suggested to comply with that regulation, obviously. So
Mhm.
if credit cards are handled at all, PCI compliance is required. In fact, jumping back to web applications, they do protect you from that's one of the tools that you could use to help you gain PCI compliance. But on top of that, audits, VAPTs, they really ensure that what you're doing is compliant with the regulation, right? So um, all of our cybersecurity solutions ensure that tribal gaming meet those standards, and our SOC and SIEM services, or MSOC, provide detailed reporting and analytics. Okay, so it helps support the clients, the compliance efforts, making it easier for those tribal operations to adhere to those regulatory requirements. And as they change, we're abreast of those, things adapt, and we would adapt those procedures in coordination with that. So, as I mentioned before, regular vulnerability tests and regular vulnerability assessment are good, and obviously signs of continuous improvement as well.
Very nice. And so also tribes out there, of course, that's where I came from. A background is compliance. So if we adopted a solution or a service, we have to set those standards in place and regulations and write those. And Continent 8 would be able to, coordinate with a tribe and help them develop those policies and procedures and regulations for all these. Correct?
Yes, yes, certainly, and help comply with any regulation that's kind of put on them as well, to make sure that they've got all the evidence they need to comply. That's right.
Very nice, very nice. So, Craig, can can you cite a recent example where Continent 8 has identified a threat, thereby preventing an iGaming company from facing substantial financial losses? Is there anything you could bring to our attention or talk about?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, with these sorts of things, they're very secretive. People don't necessarily talk about security or want to share what's been going on, right? So,
Hmm.
there's various things that we've done. So, I will cite an example, but what we've actually built as well is like a threat sharing and threat intelligence kind of community.
Hmm.
So, facing casinos, facing gaming, and things like that, we've got a specific group that allows people to interact kind of anonymously to
Yeah.
ensure that you can give examples, you can talk about problems that happen, and also we get detailed threat intelligence that comes from the dark web, comes from the deep web, etc. And we can help correlate what's going on with our customers and help them kind of foresee any big attacks that
Hmm.
are coming up. So talking about cybersecurity and having that, um, being able to share that in threat intelligence actually is a key part of what we're doing now. So,
Okay.
by all means, tribes can help come on board and share and be part of that community. Um, but when it comes to significant losses, I mean, any cybersecurity breach is going to cause you problems, right? And the average
Hmm.
cost of a breach is about 4.5 million at the moment, and that's an average cost from all businesses in North America. The average cost of a breach is actually nearer 10 million. These are IBM statistics; they update them every year.
Wow.
They're huge numbers, right? That we're talking. These
Yeah.
are average costs. So it's important to have that everything locked down with security. We, as well as having a breach, you can obviously also lose revenue if a website or something like that was taken offline. So we deal a lot with DDoS attacks, and during major sporting events and things like that,
Yeah.
we protect customers from those types of attacks. The web application firewall also protects it, for DDoS, working at layer 7 of the OSI model, but DDoS mitigation, volumetric DDoS mitigation operates at layer 3 and 4. um, and we saw a big attack, a very big attack, coming through from a major iGaming or sports betting company during a big sports event, right? So
Hmm.
this attack, was detected by our SOC, our Security Operations Center, and obviously the aim was to overwhelm their customers' infrastructure. Okay, so our response was just swift activation of that DDoS mitigation service, and we filtered out a lot of the malicious traffic on the edge of the network. We sent some traffic to our DDoS scrubbers, which kind of surgically removed bad traffic as well, and continued sending the good traffic, the normal traffic, onto the customer. So they received minimal disruption through this period. And obviously we provided them real-time updates and continuous monitoring all the way through the event. Um, excuse me. And it avoided, revenue loss for that company.
Sure.
But also, if they had been taken offline, not only revenue would have suffered, but customers would have jumped as well. They would have gone, if they can't place their bet with one company, they'll go somewhere else, right? So
Right.
they're not particularly loyal and going to wait for the website to come up. Okay, if you want to place the bet on your team, you've got to do it there and then.
Yeah.
So, you know, end users were actually largely unaware of this attack that was taking place. And we helped save them. It was a big event, so this would have taken them out at that time. More than just that revenue and just the lost customers, you also get the reputational damage then as well. So, if your company is not seen as being stable because you get taken offline, by these things, then your reputation is going to suffer.
Right.
It has closed down businesses before, so it's something to really take active thoughts about really. So that use case kind of it's kind of a bit generic because it happens every day for us, but it
Oh, wow.
demonstrates you know yeah, I mean, we're around on average about 300 attacks every month of significance.
Wow.
So yeah, it's busy out there
Yeah.
in the hostile world, but we do our best to protect. Um, and it demonstrates what we do with our proactive monitoring and our enhanced technology, and obviously our experts that are helping control these networks. So really highlights the importance of having that real-time detection, and importantly, as we touched on in our previous episode, rapid response, being able to respond at a drop of a button to make sure, or drop of a pin to make sure that can jump on this and start defending the attacks. So this sort of thing just reinforces our position as being one of the trusted partners in the iGaming and sports betting industry. So yeah.
Wow, that's incredible, Craig. That's a lot of information, but very insightful. For our watchers that are learning about cybersecurity and wanting to know how to check their posture and all the things out there. It truly is an evolving industry, and cybersecurity. God, you've got a lot to. People have a lot to learn about protecting themselves. So there's so many ways in. So thank you. You guys, Continent 8 are truly the Avengers of cybersecurity. Thank you, Craig. It was fantastic talking to you.
Pleasure talking to you too, Jerad.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, big thank you to our viewers and listeners. And remember, if you have any questions, please feel free to visit our websites, continent8.com and c8secure.com, or you can contact us at sales@continent8.com.